Hello, welcome back. I'm Jeff Byers and I'll take you through how to create a clump of grass using Paint Effects, how to install the plugin, and how to apply a plane that you can paint on. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing you'll do is we need to create a plane, a floor of some kind or ground for this to attach itself to. So you need to have something that the Paint Effects can draw on. So I'm going to go ahead and create a plane. So just a plane, doesn't matter if you keep the subdivisions or not. It won't play any effect on this. So we need to get the plugin installed. So click on this little gear, go to Load Shelf, and scroll down to where you can see Paint Effects. So shelf_painteffects.mel. Click on that, highlight it, and then click Open. Now you'll see that we have all the Paint Effects icons. Okay. So we're going to ignore most of this stuff right now. It does have grass, clump here, but we're going to go ahead and I'll take you through how to find it. And you'll also discover some other real fun things and about Paint Effects. So we want to create a surface. We've done that. Now we need to make the Paint Effects stick to that surface. So make Paintable, that's the icon right here. So we're going to click on that. You really don't see anything happening, but it did. It applied a script on it. And then in here, we're going to click on this guy here, and this will open up the content browser for the Paint Effects. Now just to let you know, there's a lot of really cool Paint Effects and visual effects that we'll get into another class. Visual Effects, Advanced Animation and Visual Effects. If you take that class with me, I'll take you through a lot of this really cool stuff. Right now we're just kind of fixated on getting some grass and how to get the grass looking like real grass. So Paint Effects does a really cool job of creating some things that would be really difficult to model, like grass, and it allows you just to paint on the surface, and then you can turn it into a polygon and then retexture it, and it looks really good. It's actually stunning. So but right now we're going to go ahead and just click on the clump, grass clump. And again, you can play around with any of these stuff. You just click on it and you can draw on the surface. Okay, so for instance, so if I want to do corn silk green, I can go ahead and draw on the surface, and you can see it creates this object for you, which is really nice in 3 dimensions. Alright, so we want grass, so I'm going to go to grass clump. Holding down the B key, you can create a larger grass clump scale wise. Okay, so we want it fairly large. We can always scale it later. So what I'm going to do is if you go to the side, it just kind of pushes the grass to the side. If you go in a circular fashion, it will look a little more like a clump of grass. So what I'm doing, I'm just kind of experimenting and finding out which one's the best. So I'm just going to keep doing it until I'm happy, and I'm just going to Control Z back. So finally, when I'm finally happy with what I got, that'll work, but that one's to the side a little bit too much, so I'll just keep doing it. And I think that looks pretty good. It's kind of off to the side. So let me try one more time. There we go. That looks really good. So I like that. We want something that's kind of straight up and down, not anything to the side, so we can duplicate this over. Now if it seems like there's a lot in there, don't worry, you can always take some of the things out. We can separate and get rid of the things you don't need. So we got our grass clump, so let's go ahead and get rid of that and hit the Q key. So we're going to get out of the actual paint tool, and so if you hit the Q key and you click anywhere off and click that back on, what it creates is an instance. It's real, but it's a surface. It's like it's painted a surface, which is a NURBS surface. So what I want to do is I want to change this into a polygon. So let's go into Windows, Outliner, and let's go ahead, and you can see that in here you can see the grass clump, and that's what that is. I got my plane and then my grass clump. If I look underneath, you can see that it's painted in there. So what we want to do is we want to, let me try that again. I got this selected. Modify, convert, paint effects. So let's go to paint effects to polygons. Let's go into that. Paint effects into polygons. So go to paint effects to polygons. Here we go. And then what we'll do is the poly limit, we'll keep it up really high. It won't use that, but let's go ahead and convert. There we go. So now it is now a polygon. So if I go back into Windows, Outliner, you'll see that it has now become a polygon. So I'm going to call this grass clump. Okay. And I'm going to drag this out of that on top of my plane. There we go. So it's by itself. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the grass clump that we turned into a polygon and just put that in a layer. Okay. So we don't see it anymore. Okay. So now we're just going to deal with this. So there's our grass clump. It has no texture on it anymore. Everything is gone. So we'll have to texture this. So the nice thing about that is that if we go into UV editor, you'll see that we've got this basic texture that it's using, okay, for the grass. So what I want to do is I want to find a realistic grass texture instead of a brown to light green to dark green, which kind of simulates the root up into the green areas, or vice versa. We got green and then going into the dead areas. It really depends on what the plant is, what kind of plant it is. But we really want a real texture. So this is how you create a paint effect, and how you create your grass. The nice thing is that what I'm going to do now is I'm going to separate everything. And so if I have too many blades of grass, that I can go into separate. So I'm going to go to polygon modeling and then separate this. What this will do now is I can go in here and just get rid of any grass I don't need and just kind of delete the things that I don't really want, that don't really fit what I'm trying to do. So I'm just going to kind of get rid of some of these wild pieces out here and just concentrate on a small clump of grass. Okay, and you just keep doing that. Thin this out to where it's more manageable for you for grass. But Maya does a pretty good job of doing all the grunt work for you. And here's your model, and now all you have to do is texture it. Right, go ahead and save your model and give it a good texture. The next video will be about texturing and making look realistic.